All right.
Welcome.
Hey, yo, episode 2 is Psyly, guys.
3.
3? Is this 3?
This is 3.
Oh, man, I can't count. Fuck, dude. These mushrooms are working.
Yes.
I wish it was the mushrooms that made it, so I don't know.
They actually make you remember things.
I know, right? Hey, welcome to the episode. My name is Frank Castillo. This is Ian McCall. Yeah.
Hey.
I don't know why I rush in hella hard like a game show host.
I can say my own name, Frank.
I know, right?
I just need to remember to say it after you do the lead in and not space out. Just like someone else is talking. I'm like, huh?
Oh yeah, that's how I feel all the time. I feel like things are kicking in already, but I don't know. Anyways, maybe all the stuff was at the top when I took the first swig. Hey, Dan Madonia is our first guest. Dan's a very funny comic that I've come up with here at the Comedy Store. Ian, you've never met Ian, have you?
We've never had an extended conversation.
Yeah.
We met for 2 seconds at the store one time.
Oh yeah.
With who's was I doing a podcast?
No, you were doing our podcast.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that one.
We got you super fucking high.
I was so high that day.
I was downstairs in the basement and you came through on a tour. I was so high too. But I wasn't on the show that day.
I like how everyone just sits in there and smokes weed.
I mean, yeah, that's how. I mean, that's how. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how we. Yeah,
that's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works. Dan's a big mushroom guy. I know he's always kind of just been my mushroom Sherpa in the comedy scene.
We all need those. Someone has to do it.
So it's great to connect you two as a guy that loves mushrooms. And,
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love to be the person that takes the people to their higher ground.
Those people are so important because it just adds a certain level of safety. Mm-hmm. We need trip sitters.
Exactly.
People are taking psychedelics, mushrooms, what have you, in mass. And I teach harm prevention. And I'm like, cool, you can have a good time. You can, take way too much mushrooms at Coachella and have a great time. Just please have a sitter. Have someone that's watching you because it just makes life way better.
It does.
I myself, I got lost in Malibu Canyon once. And dude, if I didn't have some people watching me, I would have been fucked. I'd probably be arrested.
I did get arrested. Oh. I lost my trip sitter one time.
What?
My trip sitter abandoned me. I don't know. When I was 22, I was living on La Brea here in Los Angeles, and my buddy Benji called me, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to go to do something?" And I was like, well, "Oh, sure, but I've also got this bag of mushrooms. Should I do that?" And he goes, "Oh, you're 22. Of course you should do that."
Same time.
Yeah, exactly. So I took all the mushrooms, and I got naked at one point during the trip and scared Benji, and so he ended up leaving the apartment completely. He was not having it. He was like, "Nope, I'm out," and he bailed. And while I was trying to find Benji, I left the apartment on La Brea naked, completely naked. Walked to the center of La Brea and Fountain, stood there and directed traffic a little bit with my hands, a little bit with my dick, and then the police.
Which way was it going?
Just straight down Fountain. Don't go to Sunset. Just take Fountain. It's quicker. You'll get to where you got to go. That's what I was telling everybody. And the cops came. They tackled me into the bushes by the routes. They put me into the back of the plastic police cruiser and brought me to the drunk tank.
Were you naked still the whole time?
I was naked until I got to the police station.
They gave you the paper underwear?
They gave me the blue scrubs. They were trying to get me in, and I was refusing. I didn't want to put them on. I was still.
So was the trip still good at this point?
Oh, so good.
You were still having fun.
I'm still beyond, and I was on another level. This was beyond a hero dose that I've taken.
Oh,
really? See, at 22, you're like, how much should I eat? Like, the whole bag seems like a great idea right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I drank a half gallon of orange juice and just was like, I'm doing this. God. And I fully immersed myself. And I want this to be clear. I don't consider this a bad trip. Because everything that happened was all came out positive in the end anyway.
It's I got a great bit out of it.
I think hopefully now cops are realizing hey, people are, they need to start taking a better approach and not tackling you in the fucking bushes. I know it's hard to deal with crazy people, but just walking up and just assessing the situation first might be a good idea, because then you're going to traumatize everybody.
They pulled up into the middle of the intersection, and I was like, "Oh no,
shit, the
cops!"
I had a sketch that I wanted to do for a little bit, and it was I think I told you about it. It was like I think I said it to you while we were hanging out once, and we died laughing. And it was the only cop that could catch you while you're tripping is a cop that's also tripping. So it's just this whole idea of like psychedelic detectives that can only catch other people tripping on psychedelics if they're also on psychedelics.
You know what? I'm taking that job.
Oh God,
let's do it. Let's start a detective firm. That's what we're gonna
just wandering around.
This,
hey, you smell like mushrooms. Give me some peoples.
Yeah, this wall is on LSD.
I love this wall so much.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we have to figure out the best textures for whatever we do if we make our own studio.
Oh my God, that is actually fucking hysterical.
The feel wall.
The idea of because eventually what we want to do is we want to have like a podcast where it's like we invite someone over for like 2-3 hours and we just fucking trip.
We take a heavy dose of mushrooms.
I mean, we take a heavy dose,
a performance dose.
not a hero dose.
We're not going 5. We'll go to like 2, and then we'll have maybe more.
And then just like a wall of fun.
I love it.
Yeah, I'll make
have a bunch of different like locks and stuff that you can play. Like serious, like
mind games. Those little games you can pull off.
Legos and
you never
shit.
figure them out.
Yeah, like so many things you can do.
That's some good stoner conversation.
Right there. I love how Dan straight was like, "There's so many things we could do." And I was like, "This is a we now."
You just said
I'll be there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not on camera, I'll just be over there playing.
Someone said free drugs. We're good.
It cuts to Dan. He's just got a bunch of Mudwater stuff in front of him. He's the only one that can nail the ad read perfect.
Now, let's get into some stories about good mushroom stories. The last one was incredible. So what else do we got? What other non-traumatic sort of scenarios have you worked through in a good psychedelic?
Well, you've done a lot of mushrooms with a lot of our comic friends.
Yeah, I often go to the desert, go to Joshua Tree, Jumbo Rocks,
which
campsite.
By the way, that feeling of, because I remember being a door guy at the store, and it was always like that trip was like a trip that you had to get invited to, and it was one of those things that like I never wanted to ask to go. So like when it finally was like, "Hey, you want to come?" and I was just like, "Yeah," I think I was busy and I couldn't make it, and I was so bummed. But it's like, it's a cool thing about the store and mushrooms and stuff where you hang out, where it's like, the longer you kind of like, it's definitely an earned thing. There was door guys you guys didn't invite.
There's definitely door guys who didn't invite.
Nope.
They would have
cool.
Been harsh on it. Like it's you definitely have to be able to fit in with the group that's going in that time, and like,
and it's not because it's not just about you. It's about these other people. Like this is a serious. Like psychedelics are very serious in the fact that you're going to work on things that like, dude, you don't want to work on in front of other people.
Exactly.
I get it. And it's whether you're a comic or a fighter or whatever, there's needs to be that kind of understanding.
And there's a vulnerability to it that you don't want to expose necessarily to everyone. And like when you're having the ego crushing effects of a psychedelic, like you want to be in a trusting environment with it, and you want to be able to work through those things yourself. So.
Exactly.
I put so much in here.
That's actually an entire cup of coffee in there.
Oh, is it?
No. I'm just saying they say you put it's got 1/7 the caffeine of coffee, but I think you.
There was no measuring cup, so it was just like
it's a teaspoon.
By the way, you could totally see why doing Coke for me would have been the worst idea,
or a lot of fun.
There would have been a lot of leftovers for others.
I don't do cocaine anymore, but you just gave me an idea.
No, hilarious. But I remember you guys. There was a trip that I remember you guys went on, and what was his, very funny comic. Oh my God, it's gonna bug me. You know him. He's this black comic. Does his comedy's very slow and like precise.
That's racist.
Very hilarious. He's oh God damn it. He was in Chi-Town.
Oh, Byron Bowers.
Byron Bowers. I don't know why it took me so long to fucking remember his name. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Byron. This is what happens when you're not at the store for a long time.
Exactly.
You forget,
We've been not in our family group for so
seriously.
long. It's like,
You forget your friends' names. You're like, wait, what's that
Byron.
guy's name?
I think you guys went. Yeah, he had the best story. That was great.
Byron Bowers. that was we had a great time that entire time. That Ari Shafir had actually rented a house for us that time. It was the House of Glass and Stone in Joshua Tree, and it's the house is completely made of repurposed materials, and we're just in this wonderful place, and that was like, I didn't have a lot of control in who was invited to that one, because there were a couple outliers who definitely didn't belong on that trip. Because I showed up. My group of guys that showed up, which was like me, Tony Hinchcliffe, Pete, Matt Edgar, we drove out there like the day after they got there, and they had already had a day. So we showed up in the middle of them finishing out a day and starting their new day on mushrooms, because we were out there at the House of Glass and Stone for 3 days total. And there was this one guy, as soon as we got there, because we got there after dark, and he just was coming down off the mountain, and we could see everybody up on the mountain having a blast, and there's just this one guy coming down off the mountain. He's like, oh, I'm so cold, like there's too many bugs around here. And this guy, literally the entire trip, anything bad that could happen just kept happening to him. Like, it was just like, he was so in that negative space that he just kept on a track. Like, we were all sitting in the hot tub, and somehow he ended up on this lump in the hot tub where, like, if he just moved a slight centimeter, he'd dip and fall underneath the water, like, or just like.
It just wasn't going well for him.
Yeah, he was not having a good time.
That's so funny.
Meanwhile, everybody else is having the time of their lives, and he's just like, whoa. Drowning in himself.
Yeah.
I've got a 40-acre property out there in the desert. You got to come check out. We got a hot spring.
Do you mind pushing this back? Stay back a little bit so you're not in your shot. There we go. Thank you.
It's we have a 40-acre hot spring with a farm on it. We're trying to rebuild out, and a kind of a retreat center. You know, it's really rad. Now we're down in the low desert. We're not up in Joshua Tree. We're down in Sky Valley or Desert Hot Springs, right outside Desert Hot Springs.
Yeah.
You know, Desert Hot Springs is the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely.
It's outside Desert Hot Springs. It's on it's literally on the outskirts outside of Desert Hot Springs.
That's the best.
But it's great out there. The desert is so good for tripping.
It is.
It's, you know, you can scream, you can run around, especially high fenced in 40 acres. It's rad. I mean, there are a pack of coyotes on my property, but
when you're out in the desert, like you see, and you're on psychedelics, you can see where the beginnings of religion came from.
100%.
Like,
damn! You said that, and bro, I remember being in Joshua Tree on mushrooms, and it was where there's no light pollution, and it's just the moonlight, and you're like, oh, it is bright as day out here.
Yep, you're sitting there, and then
there's shadows still.
Go out there when there's no moon.
Oh,
it's incredible, and like the whole religion thing. I mean, you see when you see the desert alive at night, it's so rad.
Yeah.
But the whole religion thing. Have you heard of the book The Road to Eleusis?
I have not.
So Brian Nakamura, something was on Rogan's show talking about a new book that he wrote called, I think, The Immortality Key, where it just links religion to psychedelics, all the way back to Greece. And Eleusis is an actual city that's no longer there, but you can see the ruins. It's where Socrates and Marcus Aurelius, all these people went to go ingest psychedelics in secret. And one of my mentors actually wrote the book. His name is Robert Forte. Well, sorry, he wrote the 2 last revisions of it with Gordon Wasson and Timothy Leary and these other people that were all had their hand in it. So it's really cool to like understand and see where that all goes. You know, it's gnarly, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check.
It's interesting too, because I didn't realize the cultural impact of mushrooms in different in cultures. And I was telling him like last time, I was like, you know, I started talking to my mom about mushrooms, and she was like, yeah, man, that shit's like, you know, Aztecs, Mayans, like Flesh of the Gods. She just gave me a book, and I was like, bro, you've had books about mushrooms in our house
this whole time?
This whole fucking time? She was like, yeah, man, I've been trying to tell you to fucking read up on our culture, you fucking loser. And I'm like, Jesus.
It's the native Mexican culture, you know, the Central American culture. Everyone ingests psychedelics. Like all the native cultures, all the way down into South America. You go into, I mean, like Serbia. My fiance is from Serbia, raised by her grandmother. Great grandmother was a shaman on their farm. I mean, that all comes from Siberian shamanism. I mean, you go into like the Nordic stuff. You go into Norse, like Vikings. They were all eating muskemol or making tea out of it. Where I'm not sure what way they ingested it. It goes all over the place, dude. And a lot of it. Well, not a lot of it. All of it has to do with religion or things like communism, where they stamped out these movements. They didn't want these people doing it. I mean, of course they did it in secret, but I think we're going to see a lot of other substances, a lot of other natural substances come out pretty soon, or as this momentum builds, we're going to see some really cool stuff.
Which is crazy that communism tried to stamp it out, because like mushrooms and communism go hand in hand. Mushrooms are for everybody. You know what I mean?
Exactly. If I've got mushrooms, I want you to have mushrooms.
Yes.
That's always
grown in hordes.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude. I've been really. I didn't really start doing mushrooms a lot until I started hanging around the Comedy Store and hanging around like, man, that's sacred ground, bro. It's so funny how the division of like the comics that hang out in sacred ground and the comics that do not ever step foot in sacred ground. Like I didn't realize, like, I like going in sacred ground, I smoke weed, have fun, and then to hear other people be like, nah, man, I don't go back there. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? They're like, oh, it's degenerates back there. I'm like, bro, I hang out back there. What are you talking about?
And those are the exact people we don't want back there. Anybody that thinks it's degenerate.
I can't wait to be invited.
No, that's
sounds like a great place.
Exactly. No, it's a great place to fit in.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what's so funny about that? I mean, we'll talk more about sacred ground because you're a big advocate of sacred ground, and
absolutely.
I loved going there and getting into sacred ground. It is honestly like. Like the first few times I remember going, I get yelled at because it is very like you have to be invited kind of thing. And then when you finally get accepted and get to go in, it's like, you're like, oh shit. And then also it's fun to be on the other side of like, oh, now I know what it's like when people come in and we're like, what the fuck's this?
Who
Like,
the hell is this? Like, no, and it's like, it's funny because it like there was a time when it wasn't a desirable place to be. There like
now
when
like people are like,
it's actually like nice back there with lights and stuff like that. When I first started, it was a broken chair from the belly room, and that was what was back there, and that's what we that was it. And we'd sit back there and we'd smoke a joint, like, and hope that we had it. Like that was like 12 years ago now, like that. Yeah. And now they've actually got like cushions and they roll it out, and like everybody's going back there, like
where the cool kids hang out.
Well, yeah, I mean it's this weird thing of like, it's kind of it's so interesting to see a place where it's like, this is where the headliners, this is where everyone, like, this is separate, this is where the comics hang out. So if you're like, a young guy trying to get in or an open mic, it's like you kind of want to, you want to be in there, and you see people slide in. But sometimes you just get lucky and you're there, and then it's always funny, like sometimes someone will go there and it's always like, you never know who's friends with who or who, so because you never want to like check anybody because you don't want to be like a dick. You just kind of like, all right, it's fine, But it's always the moment where you can tell someone's not supposed to be there, or they speak up, and then it was like, oh, what the fuck is
hey,
yeah,
and then you're like going over to security guard, hey, we need to get a little clearance in the back.
Where it's the big moment where everyone's like, oh wait, he's not with you, and it's just great.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun because funny at least for me, because I don't know even the verbiage. Like I didn't know what past meant. Like I'm just gonna be walking in places and Frank's gonna be like, God damn it!
Oh no, you're not gonna go there for the first 3 years if you're smart.
Frank's gonna constantly have to be pulling me out of places. Like, no, you don't belong here. Sit the fuck down.
I'm sorry. You're gonna be hanging out on the patio for like 5 years.
Yes. But that's the thing. I'll just walk in somewhere.
Smoke on the sidewalk. It'll be fine. Don't worry.
Don't worry, bro. And you know what? People still probably respect you a little bit more than other people.
Ain't that the truth? That's the truth.
Oh man, everyone gets who I'm talking about. Anyways, Brian Vokey, do you have any stories about Sacred Ground?
I'm not on mic right now.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can
Let's get him on mic.
Yeah, man.
Sacred Ground.
There we go.
Yes, I stayed away from there for about 3 years.
And I love this because I remember we had this conversation. You told me why, and I was like, "That's a great point of view." Because
I just hate forcing myself on people and trying to be where I don't
Seriously.
You know,
Yeah.
there's no worse feeling for a human being than feeling like you're in the way.
All
That's
awkward.
like the worst place to
And-
force yourself
And
into.
this is coming
like,
from, Voki was big where you were from, and then you moved trying to get in. And that's why I fuck with Voki so much, because he's like that path of like, do the mics. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm a guest, blah, blah. And I think he, of all people, has handled himself very well when hanging out at the store. Because I've also heard headliners say nothing but good things when they do eventually see him, especially when you've done roast battle and stuff and all the judges. You handle yourself very well. So,
Yeah, it's just there's so many great examples of psychosis. at
Oh,
the comedy store.
yeah. Yes.
So many great examples of how not to handle yourself.
Do
You
you-
just look at somebody and you go, "Oh, don't be like that guy."
Do you remember anything that stands out? Especially.
I just remember like open micers showing up to like specific funerals at the comedy store.
oh my
And
god.
eating from buffets.
Yeah.
And that they're not, and like putting them in plastic bags and like taking like crab leg home.
Showing up,
like,
grabbing the
That's fucking
Christmas
classy.
gifts.
Oh yeah.
When open micers would get come and get the Christmas gifts, we're like,
Yeah.
what?
Like Brody's funeral was one of the grossest things, because I kind of knew Brody a little bit, but I showed up, I was out front, and then a lot of people like, I heard Zach Galifianakis is doing a set. And I was like, is that what you call
A eulogy for your friend?
Yeah, what do you call that, a set? You psycho? And I went home. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Wrong person hung themselves.
So like. So
Yes,
yeah,
I agree.
absolutely. Yeah,
I
yeah,
100% agree.
Yeah. So like, your journey with the story, or your journey with the comedy is going to be like, I'm definitely not going to steer you wrong like other people were. It's like, 'cause I'm not going to let you make the same mistakes that he's seen, that I've seen. You know what I mean? So it's this idea of like, you gotta revere it, you gotta respect it. You know what I mean? Because the first time you go and you get seen there, that's the impression. You know what I mean? That was something that I'd never learned, or didn't learn until much later. And I was lucky that I did well the first time I showed up. But when you're a young comic coming to the Comedy Store, and you're like, I need to get up. I've had people hit me up, be like, can you put me on Potluck? Can you please put me on Potluck? And I'm like, all right, dude. They get up on Potluck. Adam sees them. I haven't been on Potluck in like 3 years. It's like, yeah, man, because you bugged me, and then when you got up, you fucking ate shit. And now the talent coordinator only remembers that. And he's got to see hundreds, if not thousands of people. So when you get your shot, you fucking be sure that you're fucking ready.
I just feel like I have to get you one of those little backpacks for kids that has a leash
pulls
on
people?
it.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, sorry, Frank.
Don't
I'm
go
going to
that
go play
way.
in the traffic. Not out there, damn it.
But it's also, if you don't know anything about it, and it's not your fault at all. You know what I mean? If you're just unaware, it's not, but then...
I see shiny things. I want to touch them.
Of
I see a door
course,
that's closed.
yeah.
I want to open it.
Yeah. Whereas, like, Voki's scene, like, I just want to hear some more stories of Voki about, like, just fucked up shit. Like,
Honestly, I got unlimited stories, but I didn't realize this fifth mic can't be armed and recorded without me stopping the recording.
Oh, okay.
So I can bump what I just said before, but it's going to sound kind of weird.
That's
but
fine.
I think you should leave me out of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Well, you might just have to jump on this one right here.
Yes, get in there.
I mean, yeah, bro. I mean, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be on camera, but it'll be
That's
a
fine.
long shot.
Yeah, we're talking mushrooms, and well, now we're just talking about like the
Disgraceful shit in
Those-
comedy.
It's not even disgraceful shit. I guess it's like,
check.
now that I'm on mushrooms, I'm like, let me talk about it. I guess it's like we're all young comics, and you're a guy that's starting to get into this. So it's like we've seen a lot of people make mistakes. I remember I watched someone ask Adam for a door guy job. Like walked right up to him after open mic, was like, "Hey man, do you think I could? I'm interested in being a door guy, and I want to work here." And he was like, "Oh nah, man," and then just like walked away. And bro, me and the other comic that were watching it happen, like we were on the floor laughing.
Right.
Even though that was literally like a moment for a dude. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like he
right.
was like, haven't seen that guy since.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you watch one documentary about the 80s at the Comedy Store and you think that's your only route.
Exactly.
It's like,
Howie Mandel was
Yeah.
selling carpets
Why-
and then
why-
all of a sudden was thrown on stage at the Comedy Store.
if you think your entire
Like,
comedy career is like resting on one booker approving of you and that could shatter you. You need to go do something else.
One thing
You know?
I've always said is that you don't get famous at the Comedy Store. You get famous leaving the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
It's the things that you learn at the Comedy Store and take out of it is what makes you like. That's what's going to bring you. It's not the Comedy Store where it happened. Like that's just where you learn. That's your gym. That's where all the skills are. That's not going to be the arena where it happens.
Right. Yeah, because if the Comedy Store made you famous, then Rick Ingraham would be one of the most famous comedians on earth.
Absolutely.
Do you have any? Yeah, I like how I just totally took this over with all my comic friends.
I'm
Do you have
just
any
observant.
questions? No, absolutely. Do you have any like?
No, I'm learning.
Do you have any advice or not advice? Do you have any like questions? Because he's also like going to be starting to do like writing shit and like polishing stuff together and stuff.
I've got a puppet show. I've got I guess a development deal with these people they want to sign me to, and it's because I have a blue check mark because I'm famous for something else.
Right.
I have this podcast with Frank, and he's a big deal.
I mean,
And and you know it's something that I'm like, cool. If this is the way I'm being pushed in life, I mean, then I'm gonna do it.
Ride that wave.
You know, exactly. I'm gonna run with it. But I put serious work into things that I do. Like I became one of the fucking biggest voices in psychedelics because I understand everything about it. That's just how I attack shit. I became a world champion in fighting because I'm really fucking good at it.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't do anything half-assed. Like I can't be like, okay, you know, like. I have to work at it, and if I can't be validated through my own thinking I'm good, and people that are closest to me that are gonna be rough on me, because think about it, if I go into a cage and I'm not ready, I'm gonna get the fucking shit beat out of me. I could lose my life.
Even if you are ready.
Yeah, even if you are ready.
That's the craziest thing about fighting.
It's like. And even if I go up on stage and I'm ready and I'm good, I could still suck.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing about this.
Exactly. And I love that part of it. It's,
comedy is going to be great for you because it's all the fun of getting punched in the face, but without getting punched in the face.
Yeah, there's no one up on stage that's trying to fucking kill me. I'm not going to go up there
except
and
yourself.
Yeah, that's it. That is it.
The only
And you
difference
have to avoid that part. That's something that's a big part of it, is avoiding that part.
If there's any advice I can give you in comedy, do your best to not kill yourself.
So one of the first things I advise all my friends in the beginning is like, well, if you're going to do it, don't kill yourself.
Right. The only difference, though, is you can't put ice on the emotional pain.
No. And I enjoy
know?
You can put alcohol though. We've seen a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
comics
true.
do that.
That's ice on the inside. Yeah.
See, I'm good with that part of it because I work in psychedelics, you know, so
Right.
I can deal with the emotional part. And plus, for me, I'm very emotionally void, even though I'm better than I used to be. Going up, whether I do good or eat shit, obviously eat shit, I feel way more emotion,
Right.
but I actually feel something. I go up there and like, sure, my daughter brings emotion out of me, my fiance, but like, I mean, it's shitty to say, but kinda, you know,
Right.
like I get emotion out of these people, but when I go up there and whatever the outcome is, I personally feel something.
Right.
You know, where we're usually throughout the day, I just go, oh, that good or bad thing happened. I'm like, cool, okay, time to work harder.
Yeah, I drove to San Diego for 3 minutes the other day. Yeah, there's something wrong with a lot of us.
The thing is, the way I feel is that when I'm on stage and I'm being honest, that's as good as an ego-crushing trip is psychedelically. Like, it really is. I get as much satisfaction from a mushroom trip as from me going up for 15 minutes and talking about my inner demons and my struggles and bringing them out.
Right.
And like it's therapeutic. It is.
That's exactly how I look at it. I mean, I don't work well in a therapy office. I've been kicked out of a few, but just because they was too fucked up, and I'm like, okay, like I need to work on this myself. I'm sure eventually, like I was telling Wolfie, like I'll find a therapist one day. But it's just for now. This is a big part of the path. This is the big part of my healing on whatever fucking issues I have.
Yeah, man, and I'm sure the open micers at the mics are like, man, this is a good 5 minutes on healing.
Yeah.
It's so funny to watch too, because it's that's why, like, when we went to San Diego, we popped into the mic. They were like, do you want to do 10 minutes? I was like, no, I want to do the least amount of time. I know everyone else wants to get up, and I know how annoying it must be for guys to LA to pop in, you know? But it was good that you went up, and it was cool to see you like kind of like, I don't know, it's like watching a kid walk.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was funny to watch you be like, I don't know
Like
what to
a
like.
drunk baby walk?
You're like, how do I open? And you were like, it was funny because you were like, I made fun of someone last time, and everyone laughed. I think I might do that again. And I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do
And
what
then
you gotta do.
You did. You made fun of someone, and everyone kind of like laughed. And then I was just like, it's just so funny to me because then like the comic was like, hey, and then you guys started like talking afterwards. I was like, that's the other thing. It was like, you make fun of a comic at a mic, they're gonna want to be your friend afterwards. So
100%.
not only
they're
are you
all
gonna-
abused.
Unless
Yeah, you're gonna-
unless they don't.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had situations.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to worry about that.
You're not gonna have people coming up to you. People for some reason think I'm a pushover.
I want people to make fun of me. Like, have fun with it because I get it, and I need to learn how to make this funny.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Your audio's kind of chopping.
Yeah, why is that?
Will you just push that down a little bit, that input? Let's see. Now talk.
Okay, is that better now?
What's
I
that?
think we lost you. Oh no.
Well, we got to fight the
I think
microphone
I was
now.
sitting here, huh?
Oh, dude.
There we go.
Check.
Oh, perfect.
Check. There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank God I'm sitting here. Hilarious.
Where was I? What was I saying?
Oh, we were talking about.
You want people to make fun
Oh
of you.
yeah, because I number one I want other
Well, you
comics.
realize you look like a drumstick with muscles, right? Like no one wants to make fun of you because you look like you would fucking like
I know.
debone them.
Well,
but I
somebody
want people to
psychotic
know that.
enough.
Yeah, that I'm a fucking teddy bear, a little one. I'm like a little Ted teddy bear, not like a big one, you know. But it's I'm trying to be a fucking comic here. I'm trying to be funny. Please try and be funny at my expense. It's okay, and I want people to know like you can take fucking serious digs at me.
That's a good
I've had people
attitude
say
to
the
have.
worst shit about. Imagine going up and fighting for a living. You know, like I keep using the reference of climbing into a cage in your underwear to fight someone for blood money.
That's what. Yeah.
And then after you lose, you are the biggest piece of shit the world has ever seen. People should fucking kill your family, and you should watch everyone get raped. Like the gnarliest shit where you're just like,
What is wrong with you?
I just lost, you piece of shit.
You're like, damn, Twitter's mean.
I think roast battle has helped the younger comic mentality of being ready to be roasted. Because when I was coming up, there were definitely a lot of sensitive people.
Oh, that was the crazy. I remember hearing the generation before you and Tony at the store. They were like Danish and O'Neill. They were just fucking ruthless. Like, people would cry.
Yeah, they were like it was scary for comics to go up on potluck because they were going to get decimated. They were going to have their jokes, every single joke, put under a microscope and told why it's bullshit or whose joke it actually is.
And mind you, so this was during the dark period of the store,
Yeah.
right? So you had a great, because your class was, how old were you when you got hired?
I was 21.
So he was 21, along with a few other door guys the same age. The class above them were literally like men in their fucking 40s, like 40-year-old men who were just fucking angry that there's young comics, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, dude.
And there was and that's where I was like, oh, okay, it's okay to like go and make fun of whoever's on stage from the back of the room.
Yeah.
And that's where like the Mitzi seats, sitting in the Mitzi seats and
Shooting,
bombing at people and late night started happening like a lot. And
that's what made me stronger.
But people would get mad. They were like, I remember this one open micer that like I definitely let him know that what he was doing on stage was bullshit. And he literally punched me in the kidney while I was sitting on the back wall. Like,
I ran up and punched you in the back.
Yeah. Like he like just full, and he was like a big giant dude. And I was like, whoa, he wasn't allowed back at the store after that.
Wow. I heard someone call at a mic. I was like, because I was fucking just making fun. When you're doing a mic, it's a mic. You do it for love. I'm not getting paid to do it. You know what I mean? You tease everybody. We bust everybody's balls, right? And I remember I did that to a girl, and afterwards she called me a spick Nazi. And someone told me about it, and I honestly thought it was the funniest thing ever. I was like, if that girl would have shouted that to me in the room, I would have put her on stage.
Yeah.
Because that's hysterical.
The dissonance in there.
Yeah, I
the
was
first
like,
name and the last name. It's
Spick
confusing.
Nazi. Oh my
little
god!
lost there.
Like, it made me think. I was like, damn, I had to like think. I was like, that is really creative. That is fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
Operation Paperclip stuff.
Yeah, I
right?
was like, damn, that's real funny. Yeah.
Goose stepping around with your socks pulled
The
up.
fucking hey, we got a first riff from me.
Cortez is on.
No, I'm just kidding. That was a good one. That was solid. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, just a fucking down ass Nazi fool. Sick hair fool. Oh man, now I just imagine. Oh, okay, now we're getting to a dark place. Anyways, yeah, that's fucking hysterical.
Now I got to go buy some Cortezes.
No, people would.
Yeah. The Z's, just the SS.
We. I mean, there has to be a skit we can make out of that, dude. Did you see the white kids?
I think Nazi riffs is where we draw.
Did you see the white kids who got in trouble for making the senior prank? They walked in looking like cholos into their school, and the white principal was like, oh, blah, 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 just trying to make fun of them. They put it on Foos Gone Wild.
Oh, that's
and they were just laughing about it. Like, who
you
the
know
fuck
what?
gets
That's
mad
the
at
thing
this?
is like
Yeah.
most Mexicans, I feel like, especially like Cholo, Danas fools, they don't get offended at a lot of things.
No, they think it's funny.
yeah.
They make fun of themselves constantly, dude.
that older generation, they aren't like fucking like, oh, that's too far kind of thing. Like they love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I live in
like-
Boyle Heights, which is like a cholo ass neighborhood. Tell you what doesn't go over well is self-deprecation. I think it's because it's dudes who had to work for a living and they don't, you know. And so like if I make fun of myself, it's just confused looks.
Yeah.
They're like, "What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's your confidence?"
100%. 100%.
I used to be down in Texas performing for the Banditos and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they love it. They just love it.
It's different, bro.
Yeah, and
Pour it on
it's,
me.
you know, you're Mexican. I was raised Mexican, you know, and in that culture, and I'm not even Mexican, but it's funny to see. Like my brother is the stereotypical dude who grew up in the hood in that age group who, you know, it's just something I've been around, and to see not the machismo side of it, the way they can take a joke, to the way like, you know, the guy riding down the street in a skateboard, you know, like all that stuff is so funny.
Yeah,
dude, and that's, I think it's why that Foos Gone Wild is blowing up.
Oh,
like
absolutely. Crazy. But it's also so funny to see like most people that are offended on behalf of
Oh, that's
Mexicans.
the
and they're
majority
just
of
like,
it.
what are you talking about? Yeah.
It was a white principal who couldn't even put the words. He said, "Well, this is well, we can't put it
because it'll come down to
Yeah, he'll get fired.
They didn't say anything. They didn't even. All they did was walked in like, you know,
Yeah.
just suited up a little bit.
Are you kidding me? I lived in Temecula, which is a predominantly white fucking place.
It's a Bible Belt.
Yeah. If my best friend showed up, that's a great way to describe it. Oh my God.
it is.
If my best friend showed up who's like a white Mormon, dressed to the nines as a Dan-ass fool, that would have just made me laugh and feel way more comfortable. You know
At
what I
least
mean?
he's heard of you.
Yeah.
He knows.
It's hysterical. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You're like, oh, wow, they know I exist. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Dude, that's funny that you were raised like the way you said that. You're like, I'm not Mexican, but I was raised Mexican. Maybe want to like have 3 kids and raise them 3 different races. It's like, this is my white black kid, that's my white Chinese kid, that's my white Mexican kid.
speak different languages?
Yeah, I raised this one Vietnamese.
Hey, stop
They all
speaking
teach each
Chinese to my
other.
black kid.
I've got my own melting pot. This is the deal.
My mom was like, this is so funny. This is how backwards my mom is, and I love her to death. She was like, growing up, my grandfather was kind of racist. He was ignorant in a sense. Like he worked really hard to move into a white neighborhood so he could move out of like the black and Mexican neighborhoods. But he didn't realize that like Mexican or white people don't like it when you do that. So when he got to that neighborhood, they were just like, "What, you fucking whiteback?" And he was like, "What are you talking about?" Like he just didn't understand.
No, I live here now. I
bought this house. What are you mad at me for?
I shed that skin. I'm now here.
Right, yeah.
Did he not teach his kids Spanish, that kind of thing?
Some of them, most of them learned Spanish. He was still such a diehard Mexican nationalist, though. You know what I mean? So, but it was just so funny to see. He did not like black people, and he hated when my mom would date black people. So my mom growing up would be like, "I'm never going to do that to you. I'm never going to tell you not to date anyone. Date whoever you want.
And
you just
then?
have to marry a black woman so I can have black grandkids." And I was like, "You realize that's crazy, right? Like that is. I'm not gonna do your fetish. I'm gonna do my fetish, which is white women." And she straight up was like, "You can't date any white women." And I remember, I didn't even think of anything like that. Like it hadn't even like crossed my mind to being like, "Oh, well, now that I can't date them, or now that you've said that, like that's dangerous. Like I want that now, yeah. And now it's like I fucking dating like the most gingerest white woman you've ever seen.
Yeah,
like,
you're making her dad happy, which
Yeah,
pisses her off
absolutely.
so much.
The middle.
Yeah, I'm making my grandfather happy, which makes my mom so mad.
Dude, well, see, so my family went from Spain to Mexico to Texas, and when you do that, you're Mexican.
Yeah.
And see, the first 3 or 4 kids in the family learned Spanish, but then my family got tired of having to walk in the back doors of places because they were in Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you're
very
not
familiar.
Yeah, Corpus is
We also been on the same road. We all went up for the same guy that's big in Corpus.
Yeah, and Corpus, especially back then, was a fucking little more rough of a place. And it's still not the nicest place.
The sparkling city? What do you mean?
But so my mom and the last 3 kids or 4 kids didn't learn Spanish. They moved out here, and I mean they had a fucking Spanish or Mexican restaurant. Like again, I was raised in the culture, but then when we ran my genetics, I just looked at my family and I was like, you guys are so stupid. Mm-hmm. My dad's a white dude who is a surfer and a waterman, so he was always in Mexico or California surfing, fishing, and he adopted that lifestyle. And was always like, oh yeah, you're a beaner, kid. Like, love it, embrace it. Like, kind of that cultural thing. They can call you racial slurs and it's okay. And I was just like, yeah, cool, Dad. I'm a beaner. Like, great. All right. That's just how. And then finally, like, this was like last year, I ran my genetics. And I was like, oh my God, I have no idea. I'm a Viking, apparently. Like, what the fuck?
I could have told you that.
I'm the world's littlest Viking. It's, I guess, when you go from Mexico into Texas and someone sleeps with a Native American, that's like makes you a Mexican. I'm not really sure how it works.
Yeah.
But
I thought you could. I was going to upset a lot of Mexicans right now.
So I'm a proud Mexican, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I could tell you where
Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
How long were you in Corpus Christi for?
No. My family
family?
moved out of Corpus when my mom was a little kid to get away from that racism.
Right.
And then they came
After your mom killed Selena?
What?
Yes, after my mom killed Selena. It's
sounds about right.
Yeah, then we came here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I have the other side, which is just rich white people, which is great.
Rich white people.
And by the way, thanks to our other sponsors, Rich White People.
Keep sending the checks.
Thank you to the 1%.
That was I dealt with a lot of rich white people. Like I started out. I was born in the ghetto and then moved to the mountains, the like rural Catskill mountains, and then to the suburbs, and then back to the ghetto. So I had 4 very distinct, different kind of upbringings in 4 different types of schools. Like in the ghetto schools, I was one of 3 white kids in my school altogether. But like at the rich white suburb school, in middle school, they would give us a robot baby to prevent teenage pregnancy.
Yeah,
they would give us a black baby. Like you'd get sent home with a black
everyone
baby.
got a black baby?
Like it was a class called child development that everyone in 8th grade had to take. There were 2 $3,000 robot black babies that were given to each student to take home at least one night. Like, and you had to have like a key to stop it from crying and stuff. And that was that was the school's plan to stop teenage pregnancy, was to send all of these white kids home with black babies.
Like, are you sure they didn't just like get a deal? Like maybe there's
Those ones are cheaper.
They're like, we were going to get white babies, but for some reason they were just way more expensive.
The fact of the matter is the black babies were cuter.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
They are adorable.
black babies are cute.
You know what I think? I think eventually,
I really want
white babies look like
really
Cabbage
want
Patch dolls.
extremely liberal journalists to read this and be like, I don't know where I can't. Like, there's a lot of things wrong with this podcast, but we don't know where to start.
I think one day we're gonna look back at purebred babies and be like, oh my God, you have a purebred? That's fucking adorable. How lucky are you? You have a purebred baby of whatever race it is.
We really went from like Nazis to eugenics to fucking to mushroom trips to the Comedy Store and then back to fucking like Mexican shit to purebreds. Honestly, this is one of my favorite podcasts to do, and I'm glad that I don't really have a career because I'm just
this is the job. Speaking of Mudwater, thank you,
Mudwater.
Every time somebody tries to cancel me, I'm like, oh, okay.
I mean,
good luck.
If we've learned anything about getting canceled, as long as you have a fan base, there's not really much they could do. Like you'll lose all like.
Yeah, no, I've gone through the ringer without a fan base, and it's lonely.
Do you almost get canceled?
Yeah, with Metzger.
Oh yeah.
Not canceled, just
like people
upset some people. Yeah, there's a lot of death threats or whatever. But it's like Metzger had people defending him.
Yeah.
For me, it was just like alone in the woods.
Getting fucking spit on in open mics.
Luckily, it was during the pandemic. So I had
Well,
it's all virtual.
You could hide. Yeah.
For guys that have opened up for bigger comics that are getting currently shit on right now, I think you're doing pretty well.
My dad got
for sure. It's over jokes, not fucking children or whatever.
Yeah, man, you'll be running fucking Jam in the Van in no time.
Yeah, it is funny. That guy's
it's gonna be Brian Vokey and friends in fucking a split second.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Me Too bullets, bro. They curve.
Yeah. Me Too bullets curve.
Trey Stewart said that shit, dude.
Yeah.
Trey Stewart was like,
that's a JFK like magic bullet type shit.
He was like, man,
some James McAvoy
dude,
wanted
Trey Stewart had the
Angelina
best,
Jolie.
dude. He was like,
around.
Trey goes, he was like, shit's like wanted, bro. This shit just curves back around. I was like, oh my god. Listen, we support all women and comedy on this podcast.
When you say it, it sounds like you don't.
Yeah, that was very condescending.
What? No, that was.
How dare you?
I wasn't doubting it until you felt like you needed to say
I
it.
support Mudwater. It's delicious. No, you know what I mean. It's just fun to talk shit about people. It is. It's also fun
You're
to
doing great. No,
it's
you don't need to backpedal.
No. I not that I'm backpedaling. It just doesn't feel great to like not have any of that shit be on you.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. My dad got canceled about 10 years ago. Yeah,
What did you get canceled for again?
For not booking women comics on Letterman. Like that was the deal. Like literally, I got on Twitter and I saw my dad's name was trending, and like I was like, oh shit, my dad
10
died.
years ago?
Yeah. Holy shit, my dad died. Like because I saw his name trending. I'm like, oh my god. And I'm like, oh wait, no.
Wait, your dad was a Letterman booker?
Yeah.
I met him one time. He said he could watch me do comedy for an hour, and I was like, well, then start working again. Because Letterman had just retired. Yeah. It was after I did Kill Tony, and me and Bill Burr bashed heads. And I leaned in and fought with him real hard, and he was like, that was amazing. And he like pulled me over and talked to me. That's funny. That was your father?
Probably.
He said he was the booker for Letterman. I don't know. Maybe might have been.
He's been on Kill Tony a few times.
Yeah. Dude, you know what the funniest like Hollywood kind of story that I've read? It was the Late Show. Oh fuck, what was his name? Johnny Carson, right? Remember when Carson moved from New York to L.A.?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, and one of his
The
writers,
Comedy Boom.
and one of his, the Comedy Boom. The main writer that moved with him, that's kind of like part of the story was that like his writer had to move and all that jazz. I used to work at Starbucks for like 4 years before working at the store, and there was this very lovely lady named Mina, and we'd talk all the time. She'd always ask me about comedy and all that jazz. It's like my last day working there, and I told her I got a job at the store, and she was just like, my husband was a writer for Johnny Carson, and I was like,
whoa.
Who was your husband? She was like, we had to move from like New York. She basically told me the other side of the story, and I was like, that was your fucking husband? I was like, we've been talking for years about comedy and shit, and she's just been nice, just giving me like sweet, like fucking like just words of encouragement and all all this jazz and stuff. And then
Yeah.
like finally she's just like, yeah, man, that was my husband. I was like, that's crazy.
Dude, I run into people like that, but it's always first I'm antagonistic towards them. Like Bruce Gray, another door guy at the Comedy Store. I would always I would text him. I would sneak a picture of somebody, and I would text him. I'd be like, "Do you know who this person is?" And he'd be like, "Oh yeah, they booked this festival." I was like, "Fuck!" I just called him something. Called them some words I'm trying to eliminate from my vocabulary these days.
Post cancellation vocabulary.
Yeah. Like I'll always be like, God damn it, I should just be nice first. But like, if someone's an ass, they're an ass. And it's hard.
You
not,
can't help
yeah,
that.
It's hard to rewind from there.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, I didn't know you were a guy I'm supposed to be nice to. So let's just start over and I'll be nice.
I doubled down on it. Where they're like, I do this. And I'm like, oh, really? Well, I guess I'm never doing that again. You know what I mean? I remember I had someone tell me, I was cracking jokes to a headliner. And he was very sensitive, and he goes, if you make fun of me one more time, because it was at the store, it was like a bunch of people here, right? And I was like working the door, and like everyone's shitting on each other, and I shat, and it got like a pop. And he was like, oh, you think that's funny? He was like, you fucking crack a joke one more time in front of everybody, I'll never take you on the road again. And in my head, I was like, yeah, it's worth it. And then I fucking made fun of him, and they never took me on the road again, but it was still like,
that opening
fucking
carrot
funny.
that people dangle, it's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm not going to get spots that I already wasn't getting.
There's nothing I would hate to be more than to be like a permanent opener for somebody.
A sad light comic. You don't want to be a sad light guy.
No. And it's like, it's your whole life, and then you find out he's a fucking child rapist. And you're just over.
You're like, I can't sell dick tails anymore.
Right. And by the way, find out. Yeah, there goes your whole life. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Like, build around you, dog.
Yeah,
Exactly. Build yours.
Yeah.
Oh God, I think that's a good way to end the Scott podcast. Is there anything you guys want to say before we all head out?
No, I'm
plug?
good.
Anything you want to plug?
No. Nope, not at all, actually, right now.
Well, I've got some dates coming up. No, I don't. I probably do. Who knows?
Yeah, I've got
I should
nothing.
be
I'm
more
new.
responsible.
New York's opening up, so LA should be soon behind.
Yeah.
Like, as
Can't
far
wait.
as inside capacity for
Yeah.
entertainment.
I
So
can't wait, man.
That's April 2nd.
Can't wait
so
to embarrass myself.
I know. So
It's gonna be a lot of fun. You'll get to really get back to it. So it'll be
Yeah.
dope.
feel like we're on the edge. I got vaccinated today, so I'm feeling. I'm ready. I want to
Single shot vax?
No, I've got the two. I've got my first shot of the two.
Make sure to
so.
pick up anti-inflammatory foods. A lot of turmeric, a lot of CBD, a lot of THC. And
How's the chip? Do you get HBO?
I already had it. I feel like I like it, so it won't let me log out and into theirs.
just so you don't get sick, just boost up your things like turmeric and CBD.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you so much, Voki.
Thank you,
Of course.
guys.
Thank you so much, Dan. We got to definitely gonna.
Thank
keep
you,
doing this.
Mudwater.
Thank you, Mudwater.
Yes.
We talked so much shit.